Hello and welcome to the very 31st episode of your favorite Stat Check podcast, host favorite Stat Check podcast. My name is Tyler Bortell, and you are listening to episode 31 of Take All Comers. Long live the king, the Rose City Rumble 2. As I said, my name is Tyler Bortell, and I am joined by...
Oh, I'm unmuted. Lucas Stroller. I'm a professional.
Welcome in Lucas. Yes, and today we have a very special guest. Please welcome back to the show, Mr.
Ian Swallow.
Welcome back, Ian. Ian took the liberty of absolutely decimating the local Portland population at a grand tournament not so long ago with Death Guard of all things. Apparently, that's still an army that people should be worried about, so we're excited to bring you some coverage today. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the new business. We're going to talk about new nights. We're going to talk about up-and-coming data slate things that are happening. We're very excited about all sorts of nonsense. It's going to be a ball and a biscuit. You're not going to want to miss it, and it all starts right here, right now. But before we get into any of that nonsense, I got to check in with the boys. How are we doing today, Lucas?
Doing good. Doing great. It's been a great week. I got a bunch of stuff taken care of. We finally got the move sorted, so Ian and I are moving in together in a couple weeks with Skylar and Nick, which is going to be really fun. Kind of found a central spot in Portland that I think everyone's going to really like. So that's pretty hype. And the USA jersey showed up. So I'm rocking the Academy jersey this year with my moniker, the Creature. So yeah, pretty excited about both of those things. It's going pretty good. Summer's finally passed. We're headed toward the cooler weather. Life is good, boys. Life is good. Yeah. And there's definitely no cancerous codexes on the horizon to be worried about. We're going back into the great meta. CK, IK, Death Guard. Oh, they're on the downturn. Now we just get to have all of our fun with our elves and the new Imperial Knights Codex. How are you, Ian?
I'm doing really good. Fresh off of a GT win, no complaints. It's a Thursday afternoon. So the week is coming to a close, weekend coming in. We got our teams event coming in pretty soon, or in 2 days. We're going to be playing together. And then we got Challengers Cup in 2 weeks' time. So a lot to look forward to. Feeling pretty good about the state of 40K in general. Yeah,
dude, two team events in 1 month is kind of ridiculous. It's a little ridiculous, man.
Looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun. Yeah. How about you, Tyler? How you doing, man?
Bro, I am doing fan-freaking-tastic. I am absolutely on top of the world this week. I am back in the United States of America, the greatest country in the history of the world. I am back in Portland, Oregon this week as I am up visiting the boys. I'm actually downstairs at Lucas's place right now. Feels absolutely fantastic to be up here coming up for this Fives event we're playing this weekend. Lucas and I will be capturing rivaling teams, the Rose City Ruffians versus the Rough City Rosians. We had our actual RCR practice night last night, did a full dress rehearsal, got the full 8 guys together from all across the Northwest, got them together. We got our jerseys as well, our Ruffian bowling shirts. I'm actually quite pleased with these. I thought they were a little silly at first, but it works out well. Got my hair done today, feeling alive. And I also got some great news this morning about the health of my grandmother. She's fighting a battle with cancer, and it's actually looking really, really good.
Let's go, Grandma.
So having a fantastic week, all things considered, and very excited to be playing some more Warhammer. I played Warhammer 40,000 with my own models in a game last night for the first time since Champions Cup last year with the Necrons, and more. So I'm going to be playing some games tomorrow. We're going to be playing the tournament this weekend. I'm just absolutely living my best life. Man, so let's get right into it. And by it, I mean, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on, right? The new Knights Codex leaked today. It's out in its entirety. If you go looking for it, you'll find it. Probably not in the Stat Check Discord because we have some NDA people, so we can't have the whole thing posted there. But if you look in the other corners of the internet, you will find it. Speaking of that Discord, if you like what you're listening to and want to keep the conversation going, for just $5 a month on Patreon, you can be a part of the most active community in 40K, talking to us idiots as well as the rest of them. But if you look elsewhere, you'll find the Knights Codex, and it includes the brand new Knight Defender, who I think has the funniest rule in Warhammer now. The Knight Defender has a 4-up invuln, period, against shooting. It never has to rotate. It always has a 4-up. It has some crazy guns. It basically has they took the old ion cannon off the Hecaton where it was conversion 4 damage, sus D3, and gave it to this knight because the Hexon was lethal now. So it has a casino cannon that does that. And on its other arm is like a macro plasma cannon off a Redemptor Dreadnought. So it's got some funny guns.
Okay.
Like I said, 4 pinball all the time. And its rule is if your opponent tries to shoot another knight, not this knight, but another one, big or small, and it can't fully see that knight because it is at least partially obscured by the knight defender, that knight has a 4 pinball.
Oh, that's actually funny as hell. I like that.
If he's literally standing in front of him like a linebacker and he's too fucking thick for you to see that knight because he's blocking any part of it.
Oh, this is a disaster.
Okay. No, that's cool.
No,
like,
this is a
isn't that
disaster.
sick?
No, the difference between a 5-up and a 4-up is like, yeah, rotate on shields is a good stratagem that you will use.
Yeah,
and it's
100%.
not just like a complete and utter game changer. And this is like a cool thematic rule that's pretty unique. Like the guy who's defending needs to literally defend, and then you get a decent buff. I like it. I like that. That's cool.
It's also a really cool push and pull because he's
the gun knight who has to stay in front.
Exactly. And specifically a conversion knight who has to stay outside of 18 for his crit 4s to happen.
That's cool.
Right? Like, neat. I think it's a really cool design space.
Yeah,
we'll see how many points this thing is.
Yeah.
It could just be too efficient, and that would be lame.
Yeah, it would be. But I think Innes was saying that he wants to do. He's like, if the points work, he wants like 2 of them and 6 dogs, because they also have a bondsman ability. Oh, what was the bondsman ability? I feel like it was something kind of stupid, in a good way. I don't remember what it was. Damn it! If someone in the comments knows, throw it in there so I can talk about it. But yeah.
Oh,
so
I know what it is, Tyler.
Oh yeah.
Defender's duty. That's what it is. So
okay, thanks. Great. Defender's duty. Defender's duty on 6 dogs seems real good.
Yeah.
So yeah, very nice. Oh yeah, it's -1 damage. They took that off the word and put it on the defender. Thanks, Floof.
Okay, funny.
So you can have 6 -1 damage, all 4-up invulns on dogs in your army. That can be your army.
It's a disaster.
So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited about that. So we got that going on. We've also, obviously, we are currently reeling in the wake of the emergency balance on status, not balanced data slate, balanced data slate changes, where CK got hit. And do we talk about this in the last? I don't think we talked about this yet.
No.
Yeah.
Our last episode was WTC recap.
Oh yeah, it totally was. So Lucas, as a Chaos Knights player at this point in time, as they're real strong, how are we feeling about these points changes? What do you think it does to change the faction? Obviously, 6 Infernal Bigs isn't the build anymore, but what are we doing?
Yeah, it isn't, which is probably for the best. 6 bigs on one table is just too much. Yeah, I mean, I think the faction is totally still playable. I think people are still discovering, and this is also true about Imperial Knights, just how much of an impact like getting rid of 150 points is. I feel like everyone who does play Knights went, that's probably an appropriate amount, and the faction will still be decent. And everyone who didn't play Knights went, that's not enough. It's not nearly enough. They're still going to have Knights on the table. Sorry. But yeah, it's the you just downgrade a big to a dog, so it's fine argument is utterly unhinged. If you can't tell the difference between a big knight and an armiger, you probably need to get your glasses checked. Or you drop an armiger, and that sucks because that's one of your 8 units. So 150 points does matter. Is it enough to make the faction, to move the faction from one of the best in the game to the middle of the pack? That still has to be seen, right? Like I like that they targeted the nerfs on the heaviest handed nerfs were those data sheets that were like really unhinged, like the Despoiler and the Abominate, which are just like these are the ones that you spam, and then a couple of the other ones that were like, okay, maybe they'll just go up a little bit because it's still a little bit too cheap, like the Rampager, for example, right? Like if you just don't bring up the Rampager at all, but you get plus 40 points on the Despoiler and the Abominate, I think went up 30 or whatever, then you might actually just like replace your Abominates with Rampagers. So removing that like spam ability is nice. Did it actually remove the spam ability? No, probably not. You're probably just taking Despoilers because they're ridiculous. But it at least makes it a little bit more painful, right? Because if you bring your core through Despoilers, you're dropping an entire War Dog. That's 120 points. So, yeah, I think that puts the faction in a more interesting spot where CK CK can't just like mouth breathe across the table. The players have to actually make some hard choices and think about things a little bit more. So I'm a fan of where it is. I'm a little bummed out. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Infernal Lance. I think it's super cool aesthetically, and playing it is a blast. But considering a couple of the other attachments in comparison to Infernal Lance has got me a little bit down recently, now that I've played like 50 Infernal Lance games and nothing else. Trying to think about how to play like Iconoclast Fiefdom, the Grotmist detachment, or the Index detachment compared to Infernal is like, wow, this is atrocious. You don't have +3 move on demand. You don't have sustained or lethal on demand. You don't have feel no pain on demand. You don't have ignores cover on demand. Like instead you get the army rule a little bit better. Wow. So yeah, I mean, they're not going to rebalance the detachments immediately after the codex comes out, but in terms of how I am feeling, I am a little bit bummed that there's kind of just like Infernal Lance and you can play Lords of Dread. It's good. And if you want to run War Dogs, you can run the War Dog detachment. And then the other, I guess there's only 2 detachments after that, but they're just like utter dog shit. Just a little sad. But overall, I think the faction has moved in a positive direction. It's still fun to play. I think it's going to be more fun to play against, and we'll have to see if it deserves more nerfs.
For sure. I largely agree with your assessment there. Imperial Knights feels like they're in a pretty similar place. Was an appropriate degree of nerfs. I think people are playing a lot out of more interesting things with Knights. We'll see what happens. But 4 bigs and 2 smalls was a very silly build. I'm glad to see triple Atropos and Canis kind of out of the way.
Yeah.
It was a little too much. Death Guard, obviously the other major Idris event there. Ian, I know that you've been playing a lot more since then, but you've definitely been playing some beforehand. How do you feel about the situation? Obviously, Death Guard's still playable. You're taking to tournaments, but what are your reactions there?
Yeah, I mean, Death Guard kind of got hit across the board in terms of points nerfs. The nice thing about playing Death Guard, though, is that there's so many different detachments that are viable. I mean, it's really hard to even find one that isn't viable. Like you'd have to be. It's easier to count the ones that aren't viable than the ones that are. So Morty's Hammer obviously was kind of the problem child. You had like the 3 Plague Burst Prowler builds, and that was frankly just AIDS to have to play against for a mass majority of the lists out there, especially if you're like Space Marine bodies. Like, cool, I just don't get to play the game, and it was a very grossly unfun thing to play against, which is a recurring thing in 10th edition. Indirect fire is not fun to play against. So they nerfed that to oblivion. I don't think it's very good anymore. I think you might still see a little bit of it here and there, because if it does happen to find the matchups it wants to find, it's going to do a lot of good work. But I think most people are going to start pivoting towards Champions of Contagion and Virulent Victorium, which is what I've done. And I'm currently on a Virulent build. And even though that I did receive, about, I would say like 160, 180 point nerf to the list I'm currently running, I still have so much stuff. Like I look at the list, every game that I play, I feel like I have 1 Blight Hauler too many. I have 1 Float Drone too many. It's just like, there's so much just junk on the table that is T9, 10 wounds, 3 up with a 5 up invuln. It's like that can realistically, like any of these given drones can survive an activation it has no right to survive. Like if you send 5 Meltas into like a normal T9 vehicle like a Rhino, it's going to die. If you send 5 Meltas into a 5 up invuln drone, maybe it won't. If it scams at some point when there's already so much stuff on the table, it feels really horrendous to play against, and it feels really good for me when I'm scamming. So yeah, Virulence I think is in a really good spot. Champions I think has a lot of sauce, and I think it's a little underexplored. But Virulent is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, I've been thinking more and more about Champions lately. I feel like that was the detachment that got most people super excited about Death Guard right when the Codex came out. And I feel like that was directly proportional to people not understanding how broken all of the basically the 3 vehicles, right? The drone, the HBL drone, and the Mephitic Blight Hauler. No one was, I mean, people knew about the heavy blight launcher drone being too good, but that was 300 points, not 900 points of drones. And so Champions of Contagion kind of got pushed out of the conversation. I feel like once people realized, oh, the drones are fucked up. And now that we're starting to have that conversation again, because the drones are still too good, but they're like more expensive now, right? Like taking the 9 drones costs you another more than 100 points at this juncture. So Champions is very cool. I'm a little bummed, honestly, because I don't think Plague Brains are. You pay a lot of points for like what is basically a Space Marine unit defensively. I'm a little bit bummed that they're supporting characters which are so integral to what the unit does, because you're not running Plague Marines without characters. I'm a little bummed that a lot of them went up. Like the Putrefier going up, the Flamer guy going up, the Plaguecaster I think went up.
Plaguecaster I think that stayed the same.
Okay, I think
60
2 or 3 of the best ones went up, and that actually kind of matters on Champions of Contagion, because that detachment is literally beholden to running lots of Plague Marines with attached characters. And if all of them go up 10 to 15 points, then you're taking 1 less character. Every champs list I build is like 700, 800 points of characters, and it feels okay because they all do a lot. Like the detachment's built around leading units. But if that all goes up like, 80 points, you'd have to drop one of those characters, and that feels a little bit sus. So, yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but I think the detachment is still pretty solid. And I mean, obviously, like you said, Virulent is just a workhorse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Champions, I think, is really, really good, specifically because of the 1 CP fights first. That is game defining. Like, there's some armies that just can't do anything against that when Plague Marines fight first. But I mean, Virulent Plague Marines hit like a truck. Like, it's one of the hardest hitting units in the game in Virulent. So it's like, it's really hard to, walk away from, reroll hits and wounds. Like, 1 CP reroll hits and wounds. I mean, hey, Thousand Suns used to have it way back in the day, and that was a vibe. That was a pretty good time for me, at least.
The Virulent Victoria reroll hits and wounds being 1 CP compared to the Champions of Contagion 2 CP with a nasty rider is like, yeah, it's so much better. It's not even funny. I think, like you said, the fight first is really nice from champs, but I low-key think potentially an even better stratagem is just like the 1 CP crit 5s. Because that strat is ludicrous on Death Shroud led by a Lord of Contagion. Like, borderline, that unit is better in champs than it is in Virulent for that reason.
It is, yeah.
Right? Like, you go in and Death Shroud do a lot of damage, but as someone who's played them a lot, admittedly in Morty's Hammer where they have less support, but there are times when they whiff, right? Like, it is a no rerolls unit. So you're just rolling the dice that you're rolling. Making those dice as good as possible is a huge difference maker. Like, a squad of 3 Death Shroud with a Lord of Contagion doesn't really kill a Big Knight at all, right? Like, you kind of have to chip some shots into it first. If you use crit 5s, all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's like borderline just top to bottoming it. Like, maybe you chip a couple wounds off and then you're good. So, yeah, that strat is so fucking good. Yeah. No, it's fun. Like, I'm bummed that still the drones are still like the focus of the army. But I think people are starting to come around to like, yeah, maybe you can run Mortarion. It's not trolling. Maybe you can run some Plague Brains. Like, there's some different stuff you want in there.
I think Mortarion is like solid A tier. I think you can run Morty. Like, if anybody's out there thinking, should I be running this guy? Like, totally, dude. That guy's
you can
pretty nuts.
He's very good.
Very cool. Well, with that in mind, should we jump right into this event here?
Yeah.
Excited to see about how Death Card fill in the table. Got to do a bit of a tournament review and a shout out first. This event is the Rose City Rumble 2. This is put on by our boy John and Nanya over at Straight Silver Gaming. He is comfortably the premier 40K event and tournament organizer and whatnot in the Portland scene, and rapidly becoming one of the preeminents in the Pacific Northwest as a whole. Big shout out to our boy John, does awesome stuff. In addition to his events, he also sells his own terrain, which is used. Does he have enough that he has every table at his event as his terrain at this point?
Oh, yeah. That happened a while ago.
I haven't been here in a year. Amazing. So, super consistent terrain.
One more thing to note is that if this event sounds enticing to you, he is running another one in just a month's time, in like mid to late October, I think, called the Dicing Death. The 4th one?
They moved it.
Yeah, it was in September. It's now in October.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought it was
Yeah,
in
so
November.
it's mid to late October. I forget the exact weekend. But Dicing Death is his premier event, and it's so sick. It's so much fun. So if you're in the area, or even if you want to travel for a great tournament, come to Dicing Death. I think it's the 4th or 5th one at the Lloyd Center Mall in October here in Portland. It's going to be a blast. You'll get to hang out with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. Well, that is the event. Anything else tournament review wise that you wanted to shout out, Ian, and that was done especially well or poorly here?
I mean, the venue is great. The pricing is fine. Like everything. Honestly, yeah, Anania does run the best tournaments I've been to.
Was this at the Lloyd Center or was this at Guardian?
This is a Guardian. I mean,
Nice.
and a Guardian has like that, the nice back room over there, and it just has so much space.
Very nice.
And I mean, the community itself is also like, I don't know. I'm still kind of new to the Portland scene, so I haven't been to a whole lot of Pacific Northwest tournaments, but other ones I've gone to, Anania's tournaments have been.
Yeah, Guardian. They have the high tables too, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice. Sweet. Well, let's get right into it with them. And starting, of course, with the great Death Guard list. What do we take to this event, brother?
So I don't know if you have a slide for it. I can try to pop it off memory if you want, but it's Virulence.
Do not have slides. It's not that kind of podcast. Go on.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I was running Virulent. 2,000 points on the nose, 2 units of Death Shroud, Contagion, Virulence, 3 shooting drones, 1 melee drone, 2 Blight Haulers, some Poxwalkers, a Demon Prince, Big Man, Mr. Man. That guy was an absolute champion this weekend. And then a Tallyman, and that's pretty much it. And they Plague Marine Brick, 1 Plague Marine Brick and a Rhino. And that's 2,000 points on the nose with some enhancements thrown in. Yeah, that's what I was bringing.
Very
and
cool.
your Plague Marines have Putrefier Playcaster?
Exactly. So they get crits on 5s, lethal hits, sus hits, both in melee and in shooting, because for 60 points, getting crits on 5s and lethals on is a ridiculous soup of rules to be giving to his unit. That Putrefier is ridiculous at this points cost.
Correct.
So I do not know a whole lot about Vectorum specific builds here. Is there anything going on in there, Lucas, that you think is worth mentioning in particular, dwelling on a little bit? Any crazy decision points?
The one thing I can think of is like the Lord of Virulence, because I've seen some people not running him anymore, which makes the drones a little bit more of a casino unit that just kind of does whatever it does and you don't rely on it. Would you say you had 20 more points? Would you have upgraded your Lord of Virulence to a Lord of Contagion?
It's hard, right? Because if I have the 3 shooting drones, like having that Virulence means that those 3 shooting drones really start putting in some serious work. And if they can line up to target, like, I don't know, a Land Raider, or, I mean, the Land Raider is applicable to the tournament, but let's say a Land Fort, like, those 3 drones can now reasonably start taking down a Land Fort. Whereas without the Virulence, I don't think it's very, like, a realistic thing at all. So it starts to hit that break point where I think the Virulence is actually better when you're running the 3 drones. Now, if I had the 20 points left over, maybe there's an argument now to be made. Do I cut some drones, some shooting drones, like maybe 1, maybe even 2, field other things? I don't know. In this world, I just created a list, came out to be 2K on the nose. I'm like, that feels good. That seems good. Run it.
Yeah, there's a couple things I think of why the Virulence actually feels okay. It's the deliverability of him is really nice, coming in at 6 inches with Death Shroud and being able to kind of point and click at more things than you normally would showing up at 9. And the second thing is that there are no strats to buff heavy Blight Launcher shooting reliability in Death Guard other than in Virulent Vectorum, which is reroll the number of shots. That does so much for the reliability and just being able to, because you have to see the target with a character to use that strat. So the Virulence just really lends himself to that. Show up, point out a thing, reroll hits, reroll the number of shots. It's like, it triples the reliability. It's crazy.
And the one hidden strength of Virulent Victorium, or at least with this list that I'm running here with the Tallyman and the Demon Prince, is that there's like infinite CP generation.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting a CP 1 in every 2 turns. You're discounting 1 every battle round. Like having 1 CP to reroll number of shots, and you have 1 CP every single turn to reroll hits and wounds for the Plague Marines, and then everything else is kind of just gravy. sometimes you just have it's really, really common for me to have like 5 to 6 CP going into round 2. It's like, how did this happen? So I start cycling cards. I start, rerolling shots. I'll CP reroll like a wound roll on the crack missile of a blight hauler. It's like, why not? I have it. So yeah, that's another hidden strength of the list. So you don't really have to care about any of the stratagem costs.
Yep.
Very nice. All righty. Well, let's get right into it then. Round 1 here, we are playing Scorched Earth Search and Destroy on layout 6. Seems pretty reasonable to me. And you are running into Mr. Alex Najdek on his Astra Militarum Combined Arms. I've got it up here. I don't know a whole lot about Guard, but he's got Acadian Command Squad. All of his dudes are named. Classic Guard player move. 2 Rogaldorn commanders. I'm not seeing enhancements on anybody here. And then Ursula Creed. He's got a squad of Acadians, a squad of Catechins, another squad of Catechins, the 20-man Death Corps brick, 2 Chimera, a Tarox, 2 squads of 6 Bulgrin, 3 squads of 10 Kasserkin, and damn, that's the list. Okay, Guard are lighter on the ground than I remember them being.
Oh, it sounds light. It's not light. Like those 2 by 6 Vips of Bulgrin, they don't mess around. They are chonky boys over there.
Sure. How'd this play out, brother?
Yeah, anybody who's ever played Guard or Death Guard will tell you this matchup has historically been very difficult for Death Guard. And Death Guard are very strong right now, so it kind of, makes it a bit more even. But I do think that this matchup is a little bit Guard favored. So that was a little bit unfortunate. Like, round 1, I find myself in one of the harder matchups that I'm going to ever find myself in. And Alex is a good player. He's I think he ended the event 4-1. So he is a very, very solid player, very tactically sound. Didn't give me any inch for free this game. There was a lot of really, really scary moments. It was kind of just a lot of back and forth, slow trading for objectives. And Guard is one of those armies that they have a lot of the trading pieces that they can go out. They can get area denial, and it's a 65-point Catachan unit. They didn't care. If they want to flip your objective, Torox is going to zoom over 18 inches, the caster can get out, they're going to flip it, and they're also going to kill something. I don't know, whatever they want to shoot at. So it's like they have these tools that Death Guard really kind of just don't want to have to interact with. And he played it really, really well. He flipped my natural expansion multiple times, and it really just came down to my Demon Prince putting in the heroics on turn 4, where he charged for Rogaldorn. Lucas, actually, he was there to witness this. He one-shot a Rogaldorn on the charge, which is not supposed to happen at all, which allowed him to then, on my top 5, charge the other Rogaldorn to prevent my home field from being burned. It was a very close game. I won the game, I think, by a metric of 7 points. So it was actually kind of razor thin. There was a lot of dice that kind of just very, very slightly went my way that allowed me to end up winning that game. So very happy to come away with that one with the win. Very scary though. A lot of turns I was like, wow, I'm actually going to lose in the first round yet again at this GT.
Very cool. Nicely done. And indeed, that is that 83-76 finish, getting off with an easy one there, I suppose, despite having a much trickier matchup. Nicely done to your Demon Prince. Cool. Round 2, we're playing Hidden Supplies, Hammer and Anvil on layout 7. I feel like VV is definitely doing a lot better on Hidden Supplies than a lot of other people are. Definitely something solid as a counterpunch kind of army. So excited to see how that works out for you. Round 2, you are playing into Marty O'Connell on Emperor's Children. Lucas, you play a little more EC than I am. You want to run through this list here?
Yeah, let me pull it up. It's going to take me a second.
No worries. I will run through the list then. We've got Lucius the Eternal. Are we playing Coterie? Yeah, we're playing Coterie.
Yeah.
Lucius the Eternal. We've got 2 Flying Demon Princes, one of which has the Pledge of Eternal Servitude. Eternal Servitude, that's the get back up when you pass the leadership check, right?
Yes, sir.
We got the Lord Exultant rocking Unholy Fortune. That's the flip of 6. Kind of a spicy package there to have that guy real thick. 2 regular Lords Exultant, 2 Lords Cacophonous. So we have 8 characters in this list. My gosh, quite a few. He's got a 10-man infractor brick. Is that going with the Lord Exultant with the flip of 6? That's a crazy unit.
That unit's really good.
Yeah. 2 more standard 5-man infractor units, 3 5-man tormentor units. This Borlex's battle line, and then only 2 squads of 6 Noise Marines, both of which are getting cacophonists. Oh, they're okay. And then 2 rhinos at the bottom. I was like, where are the rhinos? There they are. Mm-hmm. Okay. So as compared to like what I'm used to seeing out of Lennon, obviously there's no Mauler Fiends here. And he's got this crazy 10-man infractor break with the extra exultant. His warlord is who?
Lucius.
It is okay.
That's what he put it
Gotcha. On his list, it's on the Lord Exultant with the Pledge of Unholy Fortune, but not a big deal. Doesn't matter. Yeah, so he's got this crazy 10-man brick that he's going to try to fling around and see if he can deal with some harder targets that way instead of using the Mauler Fiends. I'm curious to see how successful that was. He seems pretty light on... No, he's got 3 Tormentor squads. He's got plenty of trash.
Yeah.
But like double Caco Noise Marines is like very heavily committing. There's not as much trading going on here. I feel like he's got some pieces that are a little too small and a little too big here as compared to what I'm used to seeing. How did this shake out for you? I'm curious.
So I think you kind of pointed it out that he doesn't really have a lot of trading pieces. He's much more so like all in. And Coterie is an army that generally is kind of more oriented towards trading, getting your first buff, your second buff. You want to get your rerolls in, and then you want to get that wave going in. So he kind of recognized that Death Guard was a pretty brutal matchup for him because generally speaking, if you're going to try and go all in, you don't want to be doing it. It's Death Guard. And he just didn't really have the tools to be shooting from long range to contest the shooting lanes that the drones would have. And the drones are disgustingly good at picking up 5-man units of tormentors, Noise Marines that might poke their way out. If your Rhino peeks out to do something, and then, I don't know, a drone can pick that up. So it's really, really hard for him to interact in these lines. So instead, he opted, let's go all in and see what happens, because he's not going to win this slow game. And I mean, Death Guard really, really enjoy when people sprint at them. So yeah, I think turn 2 is when he found the angles to make his charges. And on turn 2, that's when the Death Shroud come in. He didn't make a charge with the 10-man infractor brick. Instead, I made my charge with the Death Shroud, the Contagion, into the 10-man infractor brick. It was everything just went wrong for Marty in this game. The Demon Prince came in, failed to kill a Blight Hauler. Didn't kill, like, the second one went to my Demon Prince. Obviously didn't really kill that guy because D12 with the 5 up Field of Pain isn't going to do anything. Nothing was working for him. He would peek out the Noise Marines and maybe they would pick up the Flesh Mower drone, but cool, you're trading down like 150 points for that. It's like, it almost felt like there's nothing he could do, which is like that's a Death Guard moment. Death Guard is admittedly kind of a stat check based army. And when you're going to handshake yourself, like, okay, we're just going to try and stat check the stat check, Death Guard is going to win a lot of the time. So that's kind of what happened. I think I tabled him in 3, maybe 4, and really unfortunate game on his end. Obviously, from my perspective, I was kind of relieved. Game 2, I was like, okay, I just got off of this guard matchup, and now I get to play into Emperor's Children. I'm feeling really good about this. I'm feeling like I'm going to get a 2-0 start, and that's kind of how it worked out.
I think one thing that makes this matchup really interesting is just both of the armies are playing exactly how you think they should play in your brain, right? Like Death Guard being the come into my lair, come into my trap, I'll fuck you up. And Emperor's Children trying to like zip around and like isolate little groups and try to use their speed to their advantage. I think I agree with you that Death Guard is advantaged in this matchup because EC fundamentally have to commit to do things, and that's what Death Guard wants you to do. One thing that makes Virulent in particular so punishing is that -1 damage. Like you go in super hard and you have piles of CP, you're like -1 damage in the shooting phase. One squad of Noise Marines does almost nothing. -1 damage in combat. One squad of whatever went in does almost nothing.
Another pain point is that the Noise Marines are strength 5 and the Plague Marines are T6. So it's like, and you have so little access to rerolls until later. So he's not going to be having any rerolls. Like, sure, the Blastmasters can do some work, no questions asked there. I mean, but they're also hitting on threes, winning on threes. So like, there's a lot of room, and I'm saving on 5. So like, they probably killed 2. That's not enough to be genuinely scary. Like,
even into a drone. Like, right, you get within 18 inches of a drone, you hard commit to killing a drone, and then the Demon Princess says, haha, 1 CP minus 1 damage. You totally might not kill my drone. In fact, you probably don't. Oh, also, what's your reward for trying to kill me? I kill your 250 point, your 200 point unit of Noise Marines, right? Like, just,
yeah.
It's not good. I think you need to try to use I don't know how much he was ingressing this game, but like you need to like remove poxwalkers and whatever drones are playing in the front as soon as possible, even if it means you trade down, and then you try to like ingress aggressively and like create problems rather than just being like, I'm wandering in, I hope I pass my saves. That's never a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Against these slow and purposeful type armies, removing their trash and their crap early and forcing them to like feel a little bit uncomfortable about screening is often a good route to success.
But one of the things about playing against Virulent in particular is that if you get the first turn, like you really need to try and kill these poxwalkers. Because if I get to sticky the things for free, then I'm good. Like you can go ahead and take the objective back. That's fine. Because that means you're going to have to stand right in front of me. And I don't think Marty did that this game. I could be wrong. But I think he got first turn and he didn't get the poxwalkers off of the objectives. So I got the stickies happening. And now on turn 2, now he has to commit. Otherwise, I'm going to score so much on, I don't know exactly. Oh, we're playing hidden supplies. Yeah, so I'm sticking like all the mid board. And he has to commit. If he's not going to commit, I'm going to way outscore him. And he doesn't have his buffs up. And it's like, yeah. So yeah, if you get first turn and you're playing against Virulent in particular, and the poxwalkers are on the objectives, you need to kill those poxwalkers. Like, it doesn't matter if you're going to trade down like 50, 60 points. Like, those guys need to die.
Very nice. That has definitely been my experience in a Death Guard. You cannot play that slow of a game. You have to accept that poxwalkers are just going to take their pound of flesh. You have to kill them. It's just how it works. I'm with it. Cool. Round 3, then, we are moving into Necrons by the looks of it. Anthony Manella, not to be confused with the other Anthony on this network, Tony M, as it were. And he is playing Awakened Dynasty, which is an army that I have a ton of fun with. He's got a Hexmark Destroyer with the Phasal Subjugator. What the hell is that?
That's the one that has the.
That is the thing that's a 6-inch aura of you count as being led, or no, it's not count as being led.
No.
It's +1 to hit.
Yeah, he has +1 to hit. Yeah,
6-inch aura +1 to hit. Okay, yeah, sure.
He's moving that around to help dudes.
Totally. No, that's cool. Okay, he's got Xeris. He's got a Plasmancer. He's got a Scorpek Lord with the 4-up Feel No Pain. He's got a regular Scorpek Lord. He's got a Technomancer with Stealth. He's got a 10-man of Immortals with that Plasmancer. Certainly a unit that can put out a lot of shots that don't have any AP. But man, like, if you're trying to bring a Horde list around, like, this dude is ready for GSC. That unit's a menace. All with Tesla, obviously. He's got a Reanimator, as you do. A Squad of Wraiths, as you do. 2 Doomsday Arcs, as you do. 5 Flayed Ones. 2 Solo Locust Heavies, both with Admitted Exterminators. That's the bunch of little shots. This dude is terrified of elves. He just wants to kill all of them. 5-man Lichguard unit who don't have a character. That's a vibe. Definitely, like, you can spend 85 points worse than that for sure. Squad of 3 Fitties, and then 2 squads of Scorps to go with those 2 Scorpek Lords. So not a warrior brick list, just kind of a little bit of everything, which is what Awaken likes to do. He's got some trading with the Scorpeks. He's got some trash with the Flayed Ones and these solo LHDs. He's got some decent firepower with the Doomsday Arcs. This crazy Immortal unit that can do some silliness, though they are not inexpensive. That unit's 205. And then obviously a Wraith Brick in Awakened is always going to be a Wraith Brick. So kind of I don't want to say an NPC list, but like a very like straightforward Necrons that do Necrons things kind of list. And I feel like that's a matchup that you would love to smother. So how'd this one go for you?
Yeah, so this game, I think I'm actually the most proud of out of any of them. I think I played this like the best out of any of the games I played. This is definitely a bit of a knowledge check in my favor, where I kind of really knew everything that his army was capable of doing, and he hadn't played against Virulent before. He had played against plenty of Death Guard and a lot of Hammer, but he hadn't played against Virulent before. One of Necron's biggest issues, generally speaking, is that they don't really have like these small trading pieces that they're really happy to send forward and, contest these 10 morons, or at least his list didn't have anything like that. He had the Flayed Ones. That's the one thing that he had that can, walk towards some Poxwalkers, pick them up, and he could feel really good about that trade. He deployed his Flayed Ones on his natural expansion. Cool. My Poxwalkers are going to go on the opposite side of the center objective and on my natural expansion, and the Flayed Ones aren't going to get the charge. I think it was like a 9-inch charge is what I measured, and if he were to go for it, it would be out in the open. He decided not to go for it. Instead, he wanted to expose one of the heavy destroyers to try and pick up 10 Poxwalkers. Obviously, that's never going to happen. So on my, I went first. I went second. He walked forward. He tried to pick them up. He didn't pick them up. 5 of them survived. I didn't even have to battle shock. I stickied everything, and I just played a slow game. I would draw my cards. I would see okay, I don't want to give you a 6-point deficit. I don't want to give you challenger cards, so I'd intentionally not score. And I just waited until turn 3 until I got my 9-inch contagion, bloomed it up to be a 12-inch contagion, dropped some Death Shroud in, and now they're going to start spreading contagion over to everybody where I had no right to spread contagion to, start infiltrating the back lines. It was a really, really slow, very calculated game, and it felt like there was almost nothing that he could do. It was very, very suffocating. It's really hard for Necrons because they just don't have the volume. I guess he could have exposed the Immortal Brick to kill 10 Poxwalkers, but I mean, that seems horrendous, right? That's a horrendous trade down. But I mean, I guess what else? What are they really doing in that matchup? Are they really going to be doing a whole lot of damage to Plague Marines? Not really. They might kill 4 or 5. I guess that's something going for them. But it's a hard matchup. I think that it's a great matchup for Death Guard, especially if you don't have as many Flayed Ones, or if the Flayed Ones aren't being as, you're not being very cognizant of where you're deploying them and how they're going to contest the center on the first turn if you do happen to go first.
Very nice. Yeah, absolutely. Did the Wraiths, what was the Wraiths? Were you able to just slam that unit down once it revealed itself? What's going on?
Yeah, so the Wraiths went to his natural expansion objective, which is fair. Makes sense, right?
Sorry, we didn't mention this is Linchpin Tipping Point on table 7.
Yeah, we're playing Linchpin Tipping Point. So Wraith go to his natural expansion. On the terrain that we were playing on, there's a really, really kind of clear-cut way for the Wraiths to get straight to where they want to get to. So that's where they go until from turn 1 to turn 2. And then they stay there turn 2 because there's some trading happening going on in the center. And then turn 3, he kind of realizes hey, I'm scoring the center because it's still sticky. So he needs to go and, touch that to flip it at some point. Otherwise, he's going to lose the game on primary alone. And they're the only ones that can really do it. So the Wraiths have to go out, stand in the center with a Plague Marine Rhino looking right at that. It's my turn. Plague Marines hop out, one-shot the Wraith Brick and shooting, leave no questions, leave no survivors. Dude, I rolled it out after the fact, and it's about 60 to 70% of the time the Wraith Brick gets one shot. He has no crypto thralls. He had no crypto thralls.
Oh, he's got no thralls. Okay.
He has no thralls. But I mean, even still, with the crypto thralls, it's like not unreasonable for a Plague Marine Brick to kill a full Wraith Brick, which is crazy. But it doesn't look like it should be able to. When you look at a Plague Marine unit, you see 2d3 shots with blast, and then a d6 shots of blast, and 6 plasma shots, and then maybe some torrent weapons here and there. It doesn't seem like it's going to do a whole lot. But when you have sus and lethal on 5s, 4 rerolls, you start getting to about a 100% efficiency rate in terms of wounds. If you're shooting something that's T9 or higher, if it's lower, you're talking 130% efficiency for every shot, and it starts to get kind of out of control. And that's kind of how it worked here. Also, having the infantry keyword really, really sucks when you have a Technomancer, because now the Plague Spears are winning you on 2s. Brutal. Oofda. Not much to be done about that. There's just so many things that lined up really, really well going into those guys. Not much that he could do. Kind of getting outpaced in the game. I guess just a slightly better understanding of tempo really, really went my way this game.
Sure. Fair enough. So we're finishing out day one undefeated, and I know there's just I think it's like perfect number, so there's like 4 of y'all left. How are you feeling sizing up the competition going into day 2?
So going into day 2, there's one other dude that is currently 3-0. His name's Harry. And at this point, Harry, for those of you who don't know him, he's a very good player, and he only plays salamanders. That's the only thing he's ever played, as far as I know. And
Not just salamanders. He only plays firstborn salamanders.
Only firstborn salamander. That's the only thing he's ever played since I've ever met the dude, like, 3 years ago. So, like, even in 9th edition, I'm sure he's been playing ever since, like, 7th edition. It's, like, the only army he's ever brought to anything ever. And he's a very good player. However weak they may be, he makes it work. And at this point, he's knocked out, or he's won against some of, like, the best players that are at the tournament. So I'm terrified. I haven't played against Harry before in my life. So I'm terrified of Harry. That's like the one matchup where I'm like, I feel like I should be able to beat him because I'm playing Death Guard and he's playing Salamanders. Like, how good can they possibly be? But obviously he has some sauce, so I don't really want to play against that. I feel like Tyranids. I also haven't really played against Subterranean with Death Guard, but I can't imagine that's too bad because, generally speaking, when guys want to come into you, Death Guard kind of like that. So we'll see how that goes when I end up playing that at some point. And then the last one was Demons, and I knew Demons was a really good matchup for me because I'll just give them -1 to hit, and they're going to mold. That's all there is to it. So I was really hoping to get into Demons, and I just so happened to pair into the one I was really, really scared of, which was Harry.
Alrighty. Harry coming in on Terraform Crucible of Battle. Terraform, not traditionally a mission that Death Guard like to be playing. But one that we're going to have to make work today. Playing on Layout 8. Oh, man. Layout 8 Day 2 is going to be very defensive. Probably, well, I mean, you both got some shooting. Lucas, you want to break down what the Salamander sauce is this time around? What is our boy Harold rocking out with?
Unfortunately, I'm
green on green power armor violence.
I'm intimately familiar with this list because it's the bane of Infernal Lance. He's got 2 characters in his list. I should just pull this up so I don't fucking misquote it. I got it right here. Don't worry. I'm prepared this time. Nope, he's got 4 characters. I'm straight up trolling. So he's he's got 4 Space Marine characters. So to start off, he's got his Lone Up Lieutenant. No, you fucking pussy. He doesn't need any Lone Ops. No Combi Lieutenant. That model's bad. And if you rely on him, you're bad at the game. So his first character is Adrax Agatone. Ignore the fact that this is a Primaris model. His version is not Primaris. He's got a Captain and Terminator armor with Forged in Battle. He gets to flip a hit or a save to a 6 after he fails once per battle round.
Before you get into this too deep, Lucas, can you also tell us about the detachment for people who don't know what this detachment does?
Yeah, so this is the new Firestorm. It's called Forgefather Seekers. If you played against Firestorm before, it still does most of the same stuff where you advance and shoot. You have +1 strength on your ranged weapons if you're within 12. The big differences are you have 1 CP fallback and shoot for infantry, and you have 1 CP -2 to charge if you can see someone in the charge phase and they're within 12 of a flamer unit. I think that's functionally the main differences. They can still do the hop out of their car and shoot you when you shoot their car. They can still do the dev wounds with their flamers, and he's got Vulcan, so he can reroll the wound. That combo is actually pretty scary. Yeah, I think that's all the changes to the strats. He's got one of their new relic is called Immolator. He's got it on a Captain with Jump Pack. So that guy's a hand flamer. He joins 10 Vanguard veterans with hand flamers. So that's 11d6 rerolling to wound from Vulcan shots that are all dev wounds for 2 CP. Which
the Immolator also gives them. I think it's the Immolator that gives them +1 shot per.
Yes, their enhancement gives them +1 to the number of shots for Torah weapons.
It averages 18 dev.
It is like 15 plus dev wounds to a target, point and click, which is kind of ludicrous. So that's his 3 of his 4 characters: Adrax, Captain in Termi armor, Captain with Jump Pack, Vulcan. This is his 4th character. He's got 10 tactical Marines. They are combat squatted. 5 of them are raw dogging it with Vulcan, and the other 5 are riding in a drop pod. Why? Because fuck you. That's why. He's got 3 Centurion assault squad with melta guns. He's got the company heroes. Again, ignore the fact that this is a Primaris unit. It's Harry. He definitely does not run Primaris. He's got a Land Raider Redeemer. He's got 2 Predator Annihilators. He's got 5 Scouts. And then he's got 2 squads of 10 veterans. 10 are Terminators, like just basic bitch Terminators. And 10 are Vanguard veterans with jump packs with hand flamers. That's the list.
Hell yeah, dude.
It's a lot of flamers. It's a lot of it. That's what I was thinking. Like, this list looks like it's kind of trolling, but I mean, it's Harry first and foremost, and he's knocked out some of the best players there. Like, he's currently on like a ridiculous tear. He demands respect. You know, like there's definitely no like, oh, it's gonna be free because I'm playing in Salamanders kind of situation. Oh, and then also another side note, I'm late to this round. I'm like 20 minutes late to this round where 'cause I thought it was going to start at 11:30, and I get the text as I'm commuting over, and I live like 25 minutes from the venue. Like, where are you? Why are you not here? It's like, oh shit, I guess I'm late. And that I know Harry's kind of a bro. I'm like, please don't clock me. Please don't be clocking me. Please don't. I arrive and I see my clock has been ticking for the last 25 minutes. It's like, oh my goodness, it's a disaster. I mean, I deserve it, right? I'm late. I deserve to be clocked. But like, this feels horrendous. I'm playing against an army I don't understand. I'm being clocked. I'm down 20 minutes. It's a really bad start. But I did know that what I wanted to be doing in this mission. I had planned out my first turn on the car ride over there because I know the matchup. Or I know that I'm playing against Terry on the car ride over. So I'm like thinking, okay, if I get first turn, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to pray that I get first turn because if I go second, then it's going to be way harder to figure out what I'm going to do. And I happen to get first turn. So everything kind of worked out a little bit. Virulence as an army generally loves to go first because then I get my stickies. And Harry, for as much time as he had to, think and prepare, I think he had really, really misdeployed a lot of things in this game where he had paid me way too much respect. His Land Raider was way far in the back. He didn't want to get shot at all with the Land Raider. Nobody was like even remotely close to deploying on the line. So the Poxwalkers kind of just got to sit. Like, I just placed a guy on the objective and like, cool, nobody's going to shoot this. Like, maybe you're going to get a Predator in. You're not killing 10 Poxwalkers with a Predator. So even if I went second, I'm pretty sure I would have stickied that center field objective, which is really, really good for me. And I think he realized his mistake like immediately. Like, the moment that I placed the Poxwalkers on those objectives, it was my last deployment. The moment I put it there, he's like, oh shit. He realizes his mistake. On his first turn, he moves the Land Raider as far forward as possible, hops up the Centurions to try and kill the Poxwalkers, which is like, I don't know about that one, Chief. He pops up the Centurions, he kills 5, so he doesn't even flip the objective. It's like, okay, I guess this game went from like really, really scary to like really, really not that scary at all. Centurions die. He rapid ingresses with the Terminators, and he charges a drone, kills the drone, obliterates the drone. You got it, King. And he tags the Rhino, doesn't wrap it. So the Plague Marines get out and paste all 10 Terminators plus the character in shooting. Average Plague Marine activation. And it's like, at this point, the game's over, right? Like, there's not much to be done for Harry. Like, all of his pieces are like just so far back, and I'm trading up ridiculous amounts of points. And cherry on top, Demon Prince did charge a Land Raider, one-shot the Land Raider. Just saying. Why is he doing this? Like, why he one-shots a Rogaldorn on the first game, and then he one-shots a Land Raider? I have no complaints. I've heard complaints about other people saying that Demon Prince does absolutely fuck all nothing in combat. Where? Haven't heard of her. Like that. This guy's doing absolutely ridiculous work in combat. To be fair, he did kill a Land Raider, and then he failed to kill 3 scouts to flip the home field the next turn. So, like,
yeah, to be fair, you're rolling like actual Jesus Christ. Like, I saw that activation of the Rogaldorn, dude. I walked over. I'm like, oh, what's happening? Oh, this is the Demon Prince swinging on the Rogel. Yeah, like 3 to 6 damage. 3 lethals, 4 hits. Of those 4 hits, 3 wounds. Fail all 6. Yeah, average, dude.
Yep, average Demon Prince moment. Yeah, there was definitely moments in this tournament that I was rolling hot. And I think in general, if you're going to win a GT, maybe you guys don't fully agree. If you're going to win a GT, I think you do have to be at least a little bit lucky. There's definitely, especially when you're playing against good players. there's going to be some breakpoints that you want to be hitting. And when those breakpoints, were tested of me, I really hit it, especially with the Rogaldor. The Land Raider, less so. I mean, it was really just, salt in the wound. I think the game was 100% over at that point, regardless. But particularly with the Rogaldor in game 1, it's like, okay, if this really goes my way, which it did, it really changes the game. And there's definitely some other things that could have been done here or there. 40K is a complicated game. But yeah, when push came to shove, the dice really went my way in a lot of ways throughout the entirety of the weekend, and that was really a theme that helped me get to where we are now, which is 4-0.
Nice. Do you have any other comments on that matchup, Lucas, of that game?
I want to think about Harry's list as little as possible, so let's move on.
Fair enough. I will say there's definitely a big learning lesson for everyone there. That it is really important when you are deploying to be thinking about your first turn, how you want to end your first turn while you are deploying, right? I need to interact with these units. I need to be on these objectives. Am I setting myself up to do that? Not just am I setting myself up to be safe, right? You do not win games of Warhammer unless you're playing Eldar by fully sitting behind your walls without interfacing with anything. You need to be pre-measuring this stuff to make sure that you can do stuff, even if your opponent has a high damage army.
Particularly into Victorum. Like if the Poxwalkers get their free sticky, it's so hard to come back from that, because now you're going to have to trade something. It doesn't matter what you trade; it's going to be you're going to trade something for 0 points to flip that objective at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Sticky is a powerful rule. Alrighty, cool. And that brings us then to the finals of your other two opponents there. Looks like the Demons won out, which brings you to a Demons versus Death Guard final. Lucas, you are the Demon player. Taking hold back to tipping point, still on table 8. Man, not a great layout for a shooting focused army. I know that you're kind of a mixed arms thing here, but these drones are probably not loving it. What is this Demon army going to be, Lucas?
This is Tom Martin, the homie. He's playing Shadow Legion. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Very cool.
Yes. His warlord is Mr. Be'lakor, who I learned recently does not actually have to be your warlord. He's got a Bloodthirster with Fade to Darkness. He's got 2 squads of 3 Nurglings. He's got 2 squads of 10 Pink Horrors, which is a recent addition to a lot of Shadow Legion lists that I think is very cool and good into the night meta. 2 squads of 5 Fleshhounds for scoring and screening. We've got 1 Accursed Cultist Dark Commune combo unit. It has Leaping Shadows for Scout 9. He has a basic Bitch Chaos Lord leading 5 Legionaries. He's got 10 Cultists for sticky objectives and more up-down access. And he's got 2 squads of 5 Havocs with Las Cannons. Okay, so, I mean, Havocs are an objectively god-awful unit. But into you, they actually could threat, especially with like 18-inch load up. Right? Like I can see that unit kind of being problematic because it has deep strike. Your army still is slow. So it could be hard for you to track them down. And especially on layout 8 where they're able to like get a lot of those cross court like 36-inch angles where he can shoot you and you can't shoot it back, like the classic thing that all Be'lakor, all Shadow Legion players want to do with their Havocs. Actually works kind of well into you in theory, at least. So how'd this game go?
I agree with you that I think, generally speaking, Shadow Legion is one of the best trading armies in the game. Like they have this Fade Thirster that's gonna, charge in, pick something up for free, go back into reserves, do it again, turn after turn. You have these Havocs that are way in the back that are uninteractable. They're gonna start shooting at things that can't shoot back. So generally speaking, Shadow Legion is very good at trading. And Tom didn't really feel like he was going to win that game if he were to go for the trading game, which I personally didn't agree with, but I wasn't about to tell him like, no, don't do that. You should totally play slow. So he goes first. I have some Poxwalkers in the center objective because I know that he's not going to be able to shoot me because he's playing Demons. He's not killing 10 Poxwalkers and shooting. So he decides he wants to go all in on turn 1 before the Death Shroud can come in. Maybe a fair assessment. Maybe, Death Shroud can't come in, so try and own the board until they can. He advances the Bloodthirster, and he has a 3-inch charge into those Poxwalkers, decides to shoot Be'lakor into it. That 3-inch charge becomes a 9-inch charge. Oof. He fails the 9-inch charge with the Bloodthirster. He's now standing in the center of the board. Oof. Plague Marines hop out of their Rhino because he did tag the Rhino. They one-shot the entirety of the AC/DC brick. The Plague Caster, I got some grenades into the Bloodthirster. Plague Caster fires into the Bloodthirster, deals like 8 wounds to the Bloodthirster, which is also a little bit of a hot roll, but we don't talk about that. And then I have 2 shooting drones and 2 blight haulers that are looking at the Bloodthirster as well, and a charge lined up at the Plague Marines. Didn't even need to charge it. It's dead and shooting. The game is kind of over at that point. You know, like he didn't kill anything with the AC/DC brick. He just tagged things. He didn't do a wound. I think he got like a wound through on the Rhino or on the blight hauler. It's like he got no value out of these pieces, and the game's just over. And it felt kind of like a little empty. Of like, this is round 5, and I just beat my opponent because he went for a 9-inch charge rolling on top 1. Seems a little goofy to me.
Nice.
But that was kind of a recurring theme throughout the entirety of the tournament. I felt like a lot of people kind of lost their wits a little bit when they were like, I don't know how I'm supposed to beat Death Guard, so I'm going to do this thing that I know isn't good, but it's the only thing I think I can do that's going to win this game. It's like, hold on now, slow down. Just a thought. Play your army the way it's supposed to be played, and you will have a good game. The hardest game I had was against Guard, partially because Guard is a hard matchup, but also because Alex played his army the way it's supposed to be played. Every single one of my other opponents, except maybe the Necrons, I think Necrons is kind of just a Doom matchup. Every single one of my other opponents just decided, like, I'm just going to rush it. I'm just going to go and, try and start the trading war. And that's not how you beat Death Guard. It's not how you're supposed to play, like, Space Marines. It's not how you're supposed to play this trading army of, what is it? Shadow Legion. Nobody wanted to play the army strengths. Everybody played directly into my strengths, which kind of sucks. Like AC/DC brick charging in with -1 to hit, they're not going to do anything. And Bellacore, he doesn't have any +1s to hit either. So going from hitting on 2s with rerolls to hitting on 3s, you now start having things that's like, okay, now I can start missing, and that feels really bad. Bellacore wasn't able to really do a whole lot that game either. The one thing, okay, actually, I don't want to spend the entire time harping on him. Like, okay, what are you doing? He actually played very well after the fact. Like, I think he realized he really royally fucked it up. The pinks that he had in his list, you wouldn't think it, but they're ridiculously difficult for Death Guard to actually interact with, because -1 to hit means the Death Shroud aren't going to be able to pick them up at all, ever. No questions asked. Death Shroud can't interact with it. So the only thing I have that can pick up a unit of pinks are the Plague Marines, and they are currently out of their Rhino. So if he tags them with whatever, with what have you, then I have no way to shoot at these guys, and they can kind of start wreaking havoc on primary. And that's exactly what he did. In fact, he had somehow, some way, I think he hit like a 9-inch charge onto the Rhino to nearly wrap the Rhino while the Plague Marines were inside. And that would have been disastrous. So like he had these awesome ploys that kept the game close, that I can only imagine if you had a Fade Thirster and a unit of AC/DC on top of everything else, it wouldn't have been, as big of a win as it was for me. But he played the turn 1 like not very well at all. He hedged his bets on a 9-inch rerolling charge, failed it. The game's over. Like no matter how well you play at that point, it's really hard to come back. He did a really good job trying to. I made a few mistakes that allowed him to, get these pinks in the center, get these pinks on my home field. I was maybe a little bit too overly cocky, thinking like, dreams of Vegas and the Mirage of like, I'm about to go 5-0 at this GT, after this turn 1 Mong play. He played well. It sucks to have won the way I did, which is kind of in a free way, but I'll take the dub. I'll take it where we get it.
Yeah, I mean, Demons often bemoaned as the monster mash only faction, but like they genuinely have so many MSU units now and battle line units as well. Like as much as we complain that Demons really should have 20-man squads back, and they should, their battle line is some of the best in the game. Like what other army has better battle line than Demons? Like Shadow Legion Demons. Yeah, okay, your army's broken. I don't count GSC. But I mean, fucking true, actually. Okay, so okay, other than GSE, is there any army you guys can think of that is better Battleline than demons? Like Shadow
Rubrics?
Legion demons. Who?
Rubrics are fantastic. Plague Marines are fantastic.
On the whole, are they better than
Gargoyles?
Pink Horrors, Nurglings,
Plague Bears.
Plague Bearer Access?
Demonettes and Bloodletters don't
I
count.
guess Demonet, yeah, they're doggy doo-doo. Actually,
Demonettes are good for building boxes. Come on.
Yeah, Demonettes are not bad. Oh my god, stop with that bullshit. Demonettes are okay. Yeah, those two aren't great, but like Pinks, Nurglings, and Plague Bearers are all just so incredibly good. Like, if you actually do the math of what is my anti-infantry unit supposed to do to a -1 to hit squad of Pinks? Like, how many Pinks do you think a double Gatling cannon despoiler with sustained kills? Oh, surely it like massacres the entire squad with tons of overkill. No, it just barely kills the squad on average. Like, you can count on one, maybe two hands, the number of units in the game that are like played in any capacity that can one-shot a squad of 10 Pink Horrors. You can have 6 of those units. Like, Pink Horrors are fucked up, man. They're fucked up.
Are they like 130 or something?
They're 140. They're 140. That's the thing, is they're mega expensive. But if 20 of them live in combat on your expansion objective for the entire game, it's probably worth it. Yeah, demons are not just a monster mash faction. Yeah,
I'll tell you what does kill 10 Pink Horrors. 10 that 10-man hand flamer squad with the captain and Harry's Last.
Yeah.
True.
That'll
What
50 hits. 50 hits re-rolling the wound with Dev. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only way you can really interact with it is like grenades and tank shock and stuff that doesn't proc the guy surviving.
I mean, yeah, or like also like a neophyte brick picks it up.
Oh yeah, most armies will have like something
things
in their arsenal that can kill these guys, but like, man, that feels bad. Like I don't want to hop out my Plague Marine brick to kill 10 pinks. I'd rather have them hop out to kill like the Bloodthirster that's in my face.
Yeah,
it never feels good, and also if you're not one of the armies that can kill 10 pinks, you kind of auto lose. If there's more than like 20 of them, right? Or even if there's 10 or 20, you could auto lose to an OC20 unit existing.
I mean, that the Malta guy at WC, he brought 60, right? 60 pinks, triple ACDC.
It might have been 50. It might have been 50.
Sure.
But yeah, he had tons of morons. That list is amazing.
I'm shocked that nobody else. I haven't seen anyone playing that in singles yet. That list seems awesome. Like, I assume that list runs over both flavors of Knights.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, certainly Imperial Knights. You certainly ragdoll Imperial Knights. Chaos Knights might be a little bit more tricky.
I think Death Guard is also not very happy to see that many. Like I said, I have one tool.
Oh.
I have one tool that can interact with
also, not everyone is running the 10 Plague Marine unit. If you aren't running the 10 Plague Marine unit, you're fucked.
But yeah, that unit can get its pound of flesh and then die. Like, you don't have fight first on them. Like, he has 3 ACDCs. One of them is going to find the Plague Marines.
Oh, those ACDCs with 3-1 damage, they kind of don't do a whole lot. I'll be honest with you, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But also like you're playing
dogpile
anyway. Exactly. But yeah, very very funny stuff. Anyway, so congratulations, Mr. Ian, here on your. This is your first GT win, yeah?
First GT dub.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Good stuff, man. I was hoping, one of the reasons I was really excited to get you on here is to talk about a little bit about what your journey to getting here. I know we had you on in the past. You were on for the teams episode last year. I think we've had you on once before as well. Other than that,
yeah, I think you guys had me on when I first started playing competitive 40K.
Totally, absolutely, and it's been. Like what, 2 years now? 2.5 years? A year and a half?
Year and a half. I started playing at the very end of 9th edition, but like that was kind of like meme. Like I'm playing competitively, but like no. Now I think 1.5 years is when I actually started taking it like kind of serious.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we've seen in some pretty incredible and tremendous growth with that of you. I know that you're 10 times the player you were this time a year ago, and I'm really excited to see how much you're mastering people. What is it? I mean, this is what everyone comes to this show to learn in theory. What is it that's led to such explosive growth for you in the last several months, where a lot of people might not win a GT after several years of playing?
So there's kind of two things I have in mind. The first one, obviously, is just experience in playing the game. Like people will always say that. The second one is kind of just a mindset going into the game. I'm generally a pretty competitive person, and I do want to be really good at pretty much everything that I take time and effort to play. And so going into any game, if I really want to be good, you kind of just have to have like the mindset of like, how can I improve? And like being truthfully honest with yourself. Like if you're ever losing a game, it's not the game's fault. It's not your opponent gotchaing you or anything. It's your fault. Like if you've ever lost a game, it's not the dice. You didn't get diced. You could have avoided that situation. If you had played better, you would have found a situation where you didn't have to rely on, rolling these 6 3-ups or whatever. Like whatever it may be, you can find ways to improve the odds. You make your own luck in 40K. And I mean, maybe that's not 100% true. Maybe sometimes you are going to get diced. Maybe sometimes you're playing against a better player and you're finding yourself in a situation where you have to, spike your lethals. And maybe sometimes you will. A lot of the times you won't. And some players might find like, hey, I got diced this game. I thought I was going to win, but I got diced, so I couldn't win. Or like maybe you play against a player that you think is worse than you, and they reactive moved because they're playing Gladius, and you forgot that they could do that. Or maybe Gilliman got back up, and you forgot he could do that. You have to learn these things, and you have to like, when you're going to these big scale events, like you have to like really be present, cognitively present of like, how have I lost these games in the past? And how can I create these situations that are going to be good for me? And eventually, it's not like a one-day thing. Eventually, you just start finding yourself winning. Like you're not gonna lose. Like you just keep winning and winning. I played a lot on TTS, so if anybody here has played a lot on TTS, you've probably played against me once or twice, and you've probably beaten me. When I started, I was not very good, and I think most recently I don't think I've lost at all on TTS because I've learned. I've played against everybody. I've learned what I'm going to learn on TTS, and now it's on to greener pastures. Right now, I'm going to GTs, and I hope to learn when I play against some of the top teams in the country, maybe even the world. I don't know who's attending Champions Cup, but yeah, basically, you play against good players. I play against Lucas a whole lot. I've learned a lot playing against Lucas. He's a WTC, obviously world-class player. Yeah, you just learn how to not lose. You learn how to win.
You look like you got some thoughts on that, Lucas.
Yeah, I'm kind of marinating on them. So if you want to go first, feel free to go ahead because I need a sec.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see this come to fruition for you because you talk about how reps are absolutely important. It's good to get your games, and you had your games. Like this has always been a real strong suit of yours is that you are grinding at a degree that most people who play this hobby, almost no one is, right? Playing just an absolute ton of games. But it seems like a lot of this growth has coincided with who those games are against, right? Being up in the area, getting to play against a lot of better players, having access to people like Lucas to beat you down, right? You talk about how the learning games are the losing games, right? You generally don't get a lot out of a game that you win. So if you want to get better, you need to lose a lot of games. That's been my experience, at least.
You have to have a lot of different experiences because also it's important to not just like get fucked repeatedly because then you'll lose motivation. But like you lose games, you win games. It's important to not to take something from all of them, right? Like when you beat someone, especially if it's someone who's better than you, but like if you beat any given person, think about like what allowed you to win that game. Think about what went differently this time than last time. Like really try to narrow in and be honest with yourself of like, is this something that actually led to me winning? Or like, is this piece of my list? Or is this habit that I've gotten into actually an efficient one that's helping me?
Yeah. I think maybe this is like a distinction to be made, maybe not. But for me, it was much less like finding what decision I made that won the game. And it was more like, what decisions am I making that are losing these games? Like, If I'm not making any of these decisions that are losing games, then a lot of the time my opponents make an unforced error, and it becomes really, really, really clear. Like, okay, they put Centurions on the center objective. We're gonna take that. We're gonna take the free stuff. So yeah, it really just came down to like, don't make these game-losing mistakes. Play slow. Play very calculated. Don't cross your T's, dot your I's, get the laser pointer out. Make sure you're not gonna get shot at for zero reason. Let the game come to you. As long as you're not making any mistakes, the game is going to be close. If you're playing against a good player, you're going to keep it close. That's fine. You're playing a good game. And if you're playing against the worst player, they're going to make some mistake along the line, and you can capitalize on that. Maybe that's just an archetype. Maybe that's just my play style. But that's how I learned. That's how I got better.
I know one of our listener questions from the Discord is about this as well. I believe it's from Henry, if I'm remembering correctly, the person's name. But anyway, one thing that I've actually, not to say that people who do this are objectively wrong. I think like it's very common in the general 40K zeitgeist to do this whole like give your opponent takebacks thing and like expect takebacks yourself. Like obviously takebacks are a very important part of the game, and I think we're all better off for it. But especially when you're doing learning games, if you take back every mistake, and if you undo every dice spike, and if you reset every turn, you miss out on so much stuff. Like you have to be put in shitty situations. You have to get burned by mistakes and by dice spikes to see when your opponent makes those mistakes and when your opponent has had a negative dice spike so you can exploit it. Like you have to be put in those like more stressful isn't exactly the right word, but like more of those fringe scenarios to know how to capitalize. If you just play a cookie cutter game of chess where you and your opponent never make any mistakes and it's two robots playing against each other, maybe some people enjoy that, but I kind of like the more rough and tumble. Sometimes you make mistakes. You have to exploit your opponents. You got to go for things and be able to see when your opponent makes those mistakes. I kind of just reiterate myself a couple times there, but hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Like that is something that I've really appreciated on my growth over the course of my growth as a competitive player is no, I'm not going to take every single take back my opponent offers me. If I make a mistake, I should live with it unless it's like, there's now no more point in playing this game. If I've made a positioning mistake, I should live with it. We shouldn't just hit the undo button every single time something goes wrong. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think there's a difference in testing, in practicing to get better and in testing a matchup, particularly in a team's environment where if I need to know how this game is played, like I need to understand how I can matrix this, I'm going to raise the take back floor a lot more and say, okay, yeah, cool. Don't do that. Great. That goes in the box. Find out other stuff, find information. You can't do that all the time, but I think there's a time and place for it. Some people can though, right? Like this was the craziest thing about playing with Naden in WTC prep in years past was that he can. It really broke my brain in the prep for WTC, not 25, 24, in 2023, when I was repping the hell into him on his nids with my GSC to get him to be able to slam that matchup. He took every single take back every single time it happened, and we were practicing like a week before the event, still taking every single take back, and there were dozens of them, just an insane number of them. And then he got to the actual event, and he did not make a single mistake every time I played the matchup. It
works for some people, man.
It works
some people love this.
Crazy.
Some people love the take back zeitgeist because it works for them. That's totally fine. I'm not besmirching those people. I'm just saying it's not for everyone.
Totally.
Right? Like
sometimes
you got to get burned.
Yeah. If you are playing like that, try the other way. I think that the time and place exists, but it's generally kind of on the two ends of the bell curve where either you are confident that you are not going to make mistakes because you are feeling like a world-class player and you just want to get data, or every mistake that you make is a radical game-losing disaster and you just need to practice your fundamentals a little bit more than the specifics. Once you're in the messy middle of, I know how to play Warhammer and I want to play Warhammer better, hard knocks all the time. I'm with you on that. So yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends, right, on the nature of the mistake in the practice games. Like if you do something that's really boneheaded, like really like, I can remember one particular example when I played World Leaders into Lucas, where I consoled my Chaos Spawn into Zodgrod, and then Zodgrod just punched the Chaos Spawn and killed the 2 Chaos Spawn. It's like, do you want to not do that? Do you want to not do that console? Because obviously that's like you gained nothing from that. He gave me that take back, and I think that we were both better off for it because he got better practice playing against World Leaders, and I got better practice not doing something absolutely boneheaded. And I know now I'm not going to console spawn into Zodgrod. We're both better players for it. But I also kind of agree, like, if you're going to do something, if you make a tactical decision, you should stick with that tactical decision. Like, if it ends up burning you, like if you walk off of an objective to try and, go for some shots, and those shots don't work, and it's like, oh, well, obviously it would have been better if I stood on the objective. Do you mind if I stand on that objective? No, you're going to stand, especially in a competitive environment, even in a practice environment. No, you should probably, like, you walked off that objective. Like, play the game better next time, kind of situation.
Yep.
Very nice. Alrighty. Cool. Well, congratulations again. And to Ian there, you boys ready to check out some other listener questions? Yeah, absolutely. If you'd like to ask questions to have them answered live on air, you can do that a couple of different ways. First and foremost, if you join our Discord at the Patreon link below, you can ask them in the question thread that's put there well in advance. If you're listening right now live in the audience, you'd like a question answered, and you're not a patron on Discord, you can also super chat. We do make sure to address any of those. And if you are here and don't feel like super chatting and throw something in the comments, maybe we'll cover that as well. Kind of depends on how good of a question it is. But our first question in here comes from my boy John, who asks, thoughts on the new Raven Guard, Ultramarines, or Black Templars taking the Space Marine team spot? Also, predicted winner of Challengers Cup Collar Shot. We did not talk about this on the front end because we were going to talk about it back here. We have got some crazy new Space Marines going around right now, in particular with this new Raven Guard detachment. Have you had a chance to look through this, Lucas? The new version? What are your thoughts, man?
First of all, I don't remember the name of the detachment, but it's so much cooler than Vanguard Spearhead. Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, so comparing what it had to what it has, it seems like people are getting. I agree that it is an upgrade, and I agree that it looks competitively viable. But I am hearing a lot of like, "Oh my god, this is an insane detachment." I'm not sure it's like really that extreme, right? Like I agree that it is better than Vanguard Spearhead was, but Vanguard Spearhead saw zero play competitively. So is this going to hold a candle?
What are you talking about?
What do you mean? What am I talking about? It hasn't been played in a year.
Oh, it hasn't been played in a year. Sure. Like it was a very good.
It is better than Vanguard Spearhead is. Vanguard Spearhead was not played at all.
Sure.
So will this hold a candle to Gladius? I don't know. I think it has like a similar type of chance to Stormlance, perhaps, which is a pretty decent detachment. So I'm excited for it. It seems like I think you get like a bonus if Ethan Sean is in your list, which is cool.
While Sean is on the board, your uppy downy strat is free.
That's pretty good, and he's probably someone you want to run anyway. So that is pretty sick. So yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks like a cool detachment. Ultramarines and Black Templars. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with Ultramarines. It's a little bit vanilla, and maybe it kind of lacks in certain, along the extremes of it could get punished by some of the super hoardy hordes that are out there, or some of the super vehicle skew metas that are out there. But I don't think you're ever wrong for taking Ultramarines. I think Black Templars is the interesting one. And personally, in my opinion, that really depends on perhaps what terrain format you want. I keep hearing the claim that Black Templars is serious shooting army. You do have to be close to your opponent to get reroll to hit with your executioners. I'm not saying it's impossible, but saying that they're going to table you from across the board is a straight up bold-faced lie. So I think that army might be a little bit more punished on some lighter table formats like UKTC Bowling Ball or GW. But yeah, on WTC, I could very much see Black Templars Gladius overtaking Ultramarines as the dominant way to play Space Marines. Also predicted winner of Challengers Cup, obviously Thoreau City Ruffians. Why the fuck would you even ask that?
I think this Raven Guard detachment fucks hard. The Vex Combi Lieutenant is an absolute disaster to have to deal with. Yeah, that guy. Turn 1 an ingressing with Deep Strike is significantly better than turn 1 ingressing with Storm Wolves, whatever.
Reserve.
Yeah, Strat Reserves on things that don't go through walls, and suddenly you're like, oh no.
Okay, but like, how good is the unit that you're ingressing? I agree that it's threatening, but like, you're being threatened by like Vanguard veterans,
Assault Terminators.
That unit sucks cock. I'm sorry, that unit is super bad. It is hard to kill, and that's about it.
It is hard to kill, and it is turn 1 deep in your face. It seems like a lot of pressure combined with infiltrating nonsense, and then more ingresses and ingressing lone ups in this new character at 85 points. He seems excellent.
That's powerful.
It's hard to say that. For me, it's like whenever I look at a new Space Marine detachment, it's like, all right, is this better than Gladius Ultras? Like that's kind of just the bar that Space Marines has to deal with right now. And there is some sauce in here, but it also has a lot of the same stuff that Ultras have or Gladius has. Where it's like you have this reactive move, but so does Gladius. You have like this thing where they can advance and charge. So does Gladius. There's Gladius has so many of these things, and like sure you have all these cool sauce things. These turn 1 deep strike, all this stuff. Gladius has Ultras have +1 to wound on their own.
So does this.
So does Raven Guard.
Oh, do they actually?
It's everything other than the Codex non-compliance. So Blood Angels don't get it. Space Wolves don't get it. Templars don't get it. Deathwatch doesn't get it.
Okay, but
all the regular ones do.
This cooks.
What you're missing out on is that because you're playing Raven Guard, you don't have Gilliments, you don't have double +1 to wound, you don't have Calgar. If you were still playing both, or whichever one of those you're playing, you're not playing anymore. But instead, you get this crazy easy loan up 5 free CP for your whole army guy who messes stuff up in combat for 85 points. You get Shrike, who is he loan up for his unit or uppy downy for his unit or both? Both.
If it's unchanged, yeah.
Yeah. So like that's a crazy thing because that's ingressing turn 2, right? Turn 1 you ingress as something. Then turn 2 you ingress Shrike, and then you also ingress the what's his name? Sean, the new guy, like spicy. You still have access to fallback, shoot, and charge. Like it's a lot of upside, and a lot of the things that made this detachment not quite it is good got taken away. A lot of the restrictions, everything being infantry lock, it just works on everybody now, right?
That's big. Yeah.
And Vect on a combi lieutenant, I cannot overemphasize how good that is.
Yeah.
That is miserable.
So while you did pick up some tools in the form of fallback and do stuff, I do think that this detachment looks like it applies more pressure to armies that really hate pressure, which I agree is like obviously very powerful, but I think it also still runs into the problem that Vanguard Spearhead did previously, and you also lost the tool of the reactive runaway when you get charged, of you kind of get beat up by armies that want to brawl, right? Like Gladius Task Force is an army that, because it has Storm of Fire and Honor the Chapter and Full Fight on Death and Oath of Moment, can put up a serious fist fight, even with like kind of subpar melee units or maybe on par melee units with other brawly armies. Like just take a benchmark World Eaters or buy a list or something like that and make it smash into the Gladius list. The Ultramarines can hold their own because they have like Fight on Death and stuff like that. The Raven Guard, like their offensive output is like the +1 to wound from Oath of Moment, the natural Oath of Moment. You don't get a second Oath target. and then you have Strike from the Shadows for +1 ballistic skill and AP from far away. That's a good stratagem. That's kind of on par with Storm of Fire, but you don't have Honor the Chapter and you don't have Fight on Death. So if you're getting into a brawl with another melee army, you are strictly worse than Gladius by a wide margin. Right? Like, if you just go fight your opponent, oh, I'm going to ingress my Soul Terminators. Cool, man. You killed whatever unit I put in front, and they're fucking dead. Like, it kind of gets beat up in brawls, is my thinking. You're much worse than Ultramarines at doing damage. Despite all the tricks. Which is appropriate. That's what Raven Guard should be, right? Like,
yeah. Admittedly, I do not generally play armies that do this kind of thing, but like I have never played against Ultras and been like, dang, they sure need all this damage.
I think that's because you're playing Tyranids and GSC, which have negative defense.
Yeah. Ultras, I've definitely thought like, oof, that's a lot of damage coming out of like nothing.
Yep.
Absolutely it is. I just think they have damage to spare, and turning down that knob to turn up a couple of the other things and shore up some things that Gladius can't do quite as well. I'm intrigued.
I disagree, but I could totally be wrong. I haven't seen it on the table yet.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But so I hope that answers your question, John. Very nice. So that's that. Up next, we've got a couple questions here coming out of Griggs, short for Gregorios. And he's also asking about Space Marines, but he has a very different series of questions about them. I'm just going to copy and paste that. So Griggs says as he plays Codex Marines, he wants to play lists in which melee is the main ingredient and shooting is more of a supporting element, but doesn't see it being a thing with Codex Marines, though if we disagree, please tell him. Therefore, he wants to expand into one of the non-compliant chapters. How do the playstyles of the 4 non-compliant chapters compare with regard to their approach to melee? Which one would you recommend as having the most proactive, I am asking the questions here, approach? And as a secondary question, we'll ask which would be more helpful to play to get better at playing Warhammer.
Okay, this is a fascinating question,
right? I'm very excited.
I genuinely feel like maybe Dark Angel's a little bit less. Which good, that army's fucking Ebola, and I hope it stays in the pits of hell.
Haunt you.
Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and Templars are all playing like the
and Deathwatch.
Semi. Well, that army's bad. Semi-durable, pressury board control thing in different ways, not slightly different ways. They're doing it differently, right? Like Templars are doing it uniquely because they do the transport thing, right? Like Templars are a 3-up armor save army. They're running very little 2-up armor save at all. They do have AOC access, but like they're kind of just standing there with their stats. Maybe reactive moving back into their car, but like doing the melee pressure with cars thing. And they have some backup shooting. So if you want to have the shooting be a supporting element to your list, I think Templars is a fantastic way to do that.
Yeah.
But of those 4 that I listed, I would say the Templars is probably the squishiest because, like I said, they're running a lot of 3-up armors. They have basically no invulns. So if your opponent does high AP, you get fucking vaped. But if you're familiar with like a very archetypal warhorde, like here's all my good stuff in transports, or like a CSM where you're running 30 good stuff guys inside of rhinos, that's gonna be very familiar to you. It's gonna be kind of like directly translatable. Space Wolves, by contrast, I feel like is much less in the shooting aspect now that the Iron Priest has been nerfed. You might still be able to find a good hole to apply that buff to. But if you're running, especially because you don't have +1 to wound with your Oath of Moment, I feel like a lot of the shooting that you're running is going to be to answer a particular problem and not really for much other reason. Or like I don't see a reason to run Annihilators anymore. If you're running a Lancer, it's because you hate tanks that don't have an invuln save. That's not very many tanks right now. So like, what is your good shooting? I don't think you have any. I think Space Wolves are like, of the 3 Wolves, Angels, Templars. Space Wolves is doing the I'm pretty fast and I'm pretty tanky and I'm all over the place thing, the best of those 3. Like Thunderwolf Cavalry, for what you get for the stats that you get, are dirt cheap. They don't hit nearly as hard as Sword Brethren. They don't hit nearly as hard as Sangard / Death Company, but they're the tankiest. You can just take a ton of 4-pin safe stuff, spread the board. You have advance and charge, fallback and charge access, regardless of which attachment you're in. That's just very good. I think its shooting is a little bit lackluster. Similarly, Blood Angel shooting is extremely lackluster, right? Like, you're getting 0 buffs in Blood Angels with your shooting units. You're just taking a Ballistus because it's a Ballistus, which might be enough, but it probably isn't, to be honest. Especially because you're not, in my opinion, you're not running Blood Angels in Gladius Task Force. At least if you're running Gladius Wolves, you have access to Storm of Fire and Devastator Doctrine, which like ups the floor on your shooting to an acceptable degree. If you're just taking a Vindicator because it's a Vindicator, yeah, it's probably not enough. Even in Angelic Inheritors, you might be able to run some tanks because you can get like sus on them and stuff. But like in lag, you have 0 shooting buffs except for advance and shoot. Not good enough. I think lag is of those 3, lag is the one that's like, I am asking the questions. Do you have the answer? If the answer is no and you hate pressure, oops, I went first, you lose the game. That army is still just like an insane amount of pressure for having advance and charge, 12-inch move, flying infantry with deep strike. Like, you can ask people some terrifying questions with lag. Yeah. So yeah, man, I think all 3 of those are totally viable. It really just depends. Do you want to be a little bit more of the bruiser, the brawler? Then play Space Wolves. If you want to be a little bit more of the ride the lightning, let's fucking go for it, play some Blood Angels. Do you like your transports and your shenanigans, react to moving into cars and having some backup shooting? Play Templars. I think all 3 of those are viable.
Cool. Now we can answer what I think is the most interesting part of the question, though. Which of those is the best at getting better at Warhammer?
Templars.
Probably Templars. Yeah, because you're playing defensively with reactive moves. You're doing shooting and combat. You're also probably the most beholden to what your opponent brings to the table, if that makes sense. Like Blood Angel, you can go and create the problem. So, like, if your opponent is playing XYZ armor, you can still just go and make problems in their deployment zone. For Wolves, it's always kind of the same play style of, I'm just going to spread all over the board and maybe my Thunderwolf Cavalry focus on one flank, whatever. Templars, you really have to be careful with how you approach. If it's a shooting matchup, you play one way. If it's a melee match, you play an entirely different way. So probably Templars. Any disagree?
Probably Templars. Oh, go ahead.
I think it kind of depends on what you mean by get better. I think the Templars are probably the hardest one to. They have like the highest skill floor. Like if you must be this tall to play the army. I think that BA is probably the thing that you're going to play that is going to get you the most fundamentals practice, right?
I agree.
Because BA is going to be a little bit more forgiving in terms of your positioning and focus on your trading dynamics, right? Because they are so goddamn fast, right? The difference between with Templars, you need to be planning 2 turns ahead. With Blood Angels, you can kind of play 1 turn at a time. And if your overarching game plan and is correct, you can focus on your micro play instead of that like medium. Am I positioned in the right kind of ways? So if you are someone who is a 3-2 player trying to become a 4-1 player, I would play Blood Angels. If you are a 4-1 player who wants to win tournaments, maybe the Templars are going to be a nice finessey thing. But if you're trying to pick an army because you want to get better at Warhammer, that sounds like Blood Angels is what you should be playing to me. It's
not 100% 1-to-1, but when I was getting better, I played a lot of War Leaders. And learning the fight phase, even when I went back to playing shooting-based armies like Guard, knowing the fight phase was a really, really important way that I can't tell you how many times, like 10 Catachan get to charge in, they do this weird pile-in, console shenanigan, and they yoink your objective. That is very real in singles, and changing the story of a game from a loss to a victory. So understanding the fight phase is really, really important, and I think Blood Angels lends itself the most out of any of these armies to knowing the fight phase in and out.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. You're gonna learn important lessons regardless of which army you play there.
Yeah,
totally.
All of them are good armies.
Absolutely. Cool. Building. So here's Henry's actual question. We had alluded to it a little bit earlier, but just to break it down all the way, he asks, are there any habits you'd recommend for analyzing your play during or after games regarding mistakes, risk assessment, or other learning opportunities? Do you just keep it all in your massive brains, or do you keep physical or digital notes somewhere for reference? Ian's very excited.
Yeah. So at first, when I first started playing the game, absolutely not. It was all in my head. I thought I was doing it well, and then I went to Champs Cup and I got rocked. And after Champs Cup, I actually kept a spreadsheet, and I could probably go to my spreadsheet now, where I tracked every game I played. I tracked whether it was a win, whether it was a loss, what layout it was on, the quality of my opponent, how much I won the game by, and I kept notes on the game, like what did I do right, what did I do wrong, and then if I played, this is a lot of this is on TTS. So if I played against like an opponent that I didn't really enjoy, then I'd write their name down. All this information. So I had like a huge amount of like information on my game, and you can see in real time like my win rate. It's going up. And I have like I sorted it by tab of like what army I was playing at the time. So at the time I was playing a lot of Thousand Suns. Then I transitioned to Guard and War Leaders, and you can see like in that timeline my win rate was going up. Partially because I could look at these notes, and every time I'd look at the spreadsheet, I'd reminisce. Like I'd look at all these games that I'd played. Like, oh, I had forgotten that this happened in that game, and it really kind of helps drive home the points that when you learned the points that you learned in the game. Like, yeah, if you're going to commit to a Lich Guard brick, kill it. Like, don't let them reanimate like 3-4 times, because that's how you lose a game. And every time I go to that spreadsheet, I look at that game that I lost and I absolutely had no right to lose. And it's like, dang, I'm never going to let a Lich Guard brick survive because I didn't put as much as I needed to shoot into it. Stuff like that.
Very cool. Lucas, do you keep a physical or digital reference of your mistakes? I can't hear him. Can you hear me?
No.
Sorry, I was muted. I don't. I keep it all in my head. But if I could, I already mentioned a couple things about how I reflect after games on what went well and what didn't. So not to rehash that too much, but just like one other small thing, because it's at the top of my head right now, is look at the scorecard more. I see so many people blast through their games and just like, oh, I scored this point and that point. I got a ton of prime, over to you. And then they're just kind of like dicking around for their opponent's turn. Like, look at the card, especially after the game is over. Like, go to the end screen to the Tabletop Battles app and just, like, look at how much primary you scored over the course of the game and the progression. Same for your secondaries. And even, like, not focusing on your opponents at all. Like, did you do better or worse as the game went on? Like, was your peak in the middle of the game? Was it at the end? That'll probably tell you a lot about, like, what kind of player you are and, like, whether or not you play for the late game or early game. I tend to struggle in the late game, but like I really enjoy playing on turns 2 and 3. And I saw that as I looked at my scorecards after a bunch of games of like, oh, I'm always getting 15s on turn 2 and 3. And then by the end of the game, I'm struggling to get a 5. How can I try to work on that? You'll notice those trends a lot more if you look holistically at, what's happening on your scorecard as opposed to just blasting through the game.
Completely agree with that particular thing. It's very easy to be like, oh man, what went wrong that game? On turn 3 this unit died, and I didn't think they were going to die, and that was a massive bummer, and then I lost. Okay, cool. Well, look at the scorecard. It looks to me like you lost because despite being on parity in primary, you scored 6 secondary and your opponent scored 28. Cool. Like, you can talk about board position all you want, but you need to score points. Yeah. And if you're not actually looking at where the points are and aren't happening, you're not going to be able to improve how those points happen, right? There are totally games that you will play where you will run your opponent over and nothing else matters. And those are games you're winning anyway, right? The hard games you win, you have to be making a plan for how you're scoring primary and how you're scoring secondary. And if you don't realize is which one of those things you're not doing very well, you're not going to be able to improve.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. That's that question. And then other question here from John again asks, Ian, does 18 Bulgrin flip round 1?
Does 18 Bulgrin flip round 1 in the GT? Depends on what gets cut. I think Alex actually hit a really nice balance of like stuff that can flip objectives and stuff that's very scary.
Cool. Real question. In the past year, Ian, if you had to guess the volume of games you played between where you started to where you are now, skill set wise, what would you estimate the number of games played? How many games you played in last year, Ian? You have that in a spreadsheet?
I could get my spreadsheet up now. I've played at least 100 games since last year, at least. If I had to guess, it's probably closer to about 150 games since a year ago. So about a game every 2 days is, I would say, the average. It's been a lot of games. I played a lot of 40K. You don't have to play as much as that. Honestly, like not every game I played is productive, especially since I was playing on TTS. And as much fun as I did playing on TTS, a lot of the opponents I played against weren't giving me the best games. If you play against somebody that you know is good and you have a practice partner, then you can totally play way less games than that. But for me, yeah, I played a lot.
For sure. John asks, do we ever go over to review film of games over pivotal turns, either from TTS practice or in person, or is it realistically not practical? Filming is often not practical, but taking photographs is. If you are playing anywhere where there's light, you can take a picture on your phone, and being able to look back at a game every single turn helps a lot to see where things happened and where things went wrong and check your positioning, right? Dang, on turn 4, I wasn't able to score any secondaries. Bummer. Oh, on turn 2, this unit was chilling in my backfield instead of advancing up to a more relevant position. Bummer. Learn from that. Highly recommend and going over footage in that way. If you're on TTS, you can film games. You can check out our stat reps here on this YouTube channel to see what that looks like in practice. Highly recommend it. We learn more. I feel like I learn more doing a stat rep than I do any other game that gets played because it's so helpful. But it is a bit impractical. So if
it's impractical, but it's so helpful, man. Like I think at every single stat rep we've done together, there's like at some point in the game we both are like, that was a boneheaded move. -8 points for me. Very clearly see when you do stupid shit when you watch a game back.
Highly recommend it. Definitely check out those stat reps as well to see that perspective and learn from our boneheaded mistakes. Watching people who are better than you play Warhammer is helpful. It is not a substitute for playing Warhammer, but it is helpful. So I highly recommend that. Also helpful, getting a coach. If that's something you're interested in doing, head over to stat-check.com/coaching where you can get myself, Lucas, or several of the other members of the Stat Check team, such as Innes Wilson or Liam VSL or Nassim Fashan or Typhus or Pumbaa. I don't know if Typhus does. I think Pumbaa still does. Or Nick. He's out there. He's real, I promise. We'll be happy to help you out and can handle the logistics of filming games and walking you through stuff. So highly recommend that. Great ways is to get better at Warhammer. If that's not at your jive, but you're looking for other ways to support the channel, we do have a number of other sponsors that are worth plugging here, including Whaling Yutani, who makes the terrain for WTC. You can use code in the description for 5% off at them. If you're looking for widgets and whatnots, J15 Games over in the US and Saltire Games over in the UK are our sponsors for those. They make wonderful stuff. You can get their things on Etsy. I think Saltire has their own website at this point. And of course, our Big Daddy sponsor, Red Dragon Games. If you're in the Northeast near Canada, highly recommend them as the purveyors of all things 40K. They sell new models, used models, dice, all the good stuff. It's all over there. Check them out. Wonderful. Anything else you boys want to talk about before we sign off for the week? We're right about that 145 mark, which I think is kind of our sweet spot.
Wiener balls.
Nice.
Nailed
Fair
it.
enough.
Somebody asked a question.
Have you guys done any special practice for OFCC this weekend or just going more casually to practice for challengers? It's mostly reps, right? At the end of the day, I want to get at reps for challengers. I want to get practice in person. I want to get practice doing teams things, projecting and focusing on differential and whatnot. I'm not super concerned about the specific 5-man matchups, right? Neither of us have like super killer 5-man teams. We both got some.
Speak for yourself, bitch. You're the best night player in the PNW.
Excuse me, John Siebert is not on your team. I will not speak of slander of the Siebes, but probably the second best. He does have a pulse. So best of luck to you boys there. So I'm excited. We're gonna have a really, really good time. We're absolutely gonna be, we're gonna be out there trying at our hardest doing good stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Challengers is 2 weeks later. Like that is where all of the focus is.
Yep.
So go Ruffians, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, we meet you boys in the finals for a fun little rendezvous. But it's a seasonally populated event. There's 12 teams, so lots of other competition to get through on the way. So looking forward to that. Wonderful. Well, with that all being said and done, thank you so much for joining us. I've been Tyler.
I've been Lucas.
I'm an Ian.
We still haven't figured out how we do the thing when Nick's not here. But anyway, we'll be back in the near future. Probably do a little recap of OFCC, this 5-man's event that we're